You're going after coffee, right? Okay, no problem. Let me mention this. The people that just came in, they're doing some kind of an article, and we probably will have a television camera in here at some time doing some shooting, and if we do that, we may vary the program just a little bit and try to have a demo square up, and we may do a little bit more just dancing and for a second or two than we would normally, okay, as opposed to just talking about it.
Please get them to run upstairs real quick, change into a mission.
Yeah. Okay, for the recorders, we are in Phoenix room A and B. This is a session on plus choreography, among other things. Since it is 7 o'clock in the morning, I think primarily it's a stamina test, especially for those that partied last night. And before the meeting is over, we definitely will resolve who was your partner last night, or whichever. Okay? You folks come on in and find you a seat wherever you can, and we'll have a demo square up in just a little while, and to be perfectly frank, I doubt that we're going to be dancing on that stage, because it looks to me like somebody fall, break their neck out there. So whenever we do get a demo square up, we'll be right out here in front of this platform on this carpet, which should work fine. We'll wait just a second. There's several people coming in, so we'll let everybody come in and get them a seat. Okay. All right. Looks good with all the coffee, guys. All the bloodshot eyes. Looks great. I'm Darrell McMillan, the Ranch House Records, Panama City, Florida. Over here on my left, we have Bob Smith from Reno, Nevada, and Tony Oxendine from Sumter, South Carolina. And what we're going to do, we're each going to get up and just talk to you a couple of minutes about various things, and we've tried to relate the plus material, some about teaching, some about singing calls, some about choreography and pattern. We're trying to relate that with music in some way. And we will each be talking to you for a few minutes, and I would like to say, if you have a question, please jump in. We would really like to have your participation. If you have a question, a comment, anything you see that might help somebody by making your comment, please do not hesitate and jump right in the middle, and let's get a little bit of talk going and see if we can all get something out of this. So, first thing we're going to do this morning from Reno, Nevada, Mr. Bob Smith is going to come up and talk to you a while.
Well, thank you, Darrell, and first, let me congratulate everybody on crawling out of the sack at this ungodly hour, which it certainly is. Yes, I'm from Reno, and a little place out in the pucker brush, and I'm just an old hometown caller. Well, not old, I'm 39. But I'm just delighted and tickled to be up there with these well-known fellows, and I hope I don't do anything to upset you, Darrell. I'll certainly try not to. I have a couple of choreographic things that I would like to show you a little later on, but first, let me talk just a minute about winners and losers. We have a lot of winners in Reno, but we have more losers in Reno. We don't have to have this in our square dancing, because I'm talking about our square dance music, our singers and our hoedowns. And two things have to happen in order to have a winner, I think. You have to please your dancers and make them feel good, and you, the caller, has to feel good. Because if you don't really feel good about your music, you're not going to do your very best. And what goes into picking a winner? Many things for different people. Your style, your music appreciation, your likes and your dislikes. Many of these things go into picking winners. But most of all, as I said, they must make you feel good. And I'm sure that you've all at one time or another dropped a needle on the record and just felt it really turn you on. I know I have. And you've looked out there and you've seen your dancers' eyes light up and seen them start to swing and sway like Sammy Kaye. That kind of dates me, doesn't it? But you know what I'm talking about, don't you? On the other hand, there's been times when you've dropped that needle down and it wasn't very good. Maybe you stayed there and fought it for a whole tip. Who knows? I've done that, I'm afraid. But let me suggest that when you have a record like that, don't fight it. Put it in that big cardboard box in the back room where all those other records are that you used to use. And just stick with your winners, because as our theme is this year, as you well know, music is our greatest ally, and we should use it. Could I have a square now, please, up there? I'm not going to ask you to dance this early. I just want to do a little demonstration.
Preferably before couples that already have your eyes open.
Uh-oh. We just lost a man. But these... Yeah, would you please? Just for the morning. Anything for a friend, huh? Okay, now our dancers are approaching various states of sleepiness. These things that I'm going to demonstrate very quickly are not figures per se, but perhaps to say just little phrases that you might want to insert in your programs here and there. And no doubt some of you have seen these, all of them or some of them. If you have, just bear with us for the ones that might not have, would you please? I'm going to ask the heads to touch a quarter and arch and substitute. I know substitute is away, but you'll have no problem with it because most of your the guy's laughing over there. Most of your +2 dancers are well acquainted with it, and even those that aren't just will fall into it here. And these little pieces of programming do, I think, create some excitement sometimes. Good. From here, we could do many things, should we not? We could have all the men run around the girls. We could have the centers pass through and chase right to come back to columns. For this moment, let's, for our purposes here, have the center dancers pass the ocean. And single hinge. And now all the boys run around the girls. And we're in easily managed columns. Do a track 2, would you please? Very good. Recycle. Sweep 1/4. And we're back to nicely managed lines. I'm not going to try to resolve you here because this is not our purpose, and I only have a few minutes. Darrell, you cut me off when I'm too long, will you? I'm sure he will. So we have now nicely managed lines of 4. Can we have another touch a quarter, please? No, excuse me. Untouch a quarter. And that's a good movement, too. Do a pass-through with a wheel and deal. And the center 4 star through. And the same centers touch a quarter and spread. Squeeze in outsides. Good. Here's a nice little thing that especially is good because what can you do from here? You can give your cues and directions to the ends or to the centers or to the boys or to the girls. And this is important. If you can set up things where you can cue or direct to many different ways, you'll find your programming is opening up to a lot of possibilities. Shall we have the ends circulate once? And the center 4 do a right and left through. Good, we've directed there to ends and centers. Let's have the ends circulate once more. Back to the first position we have. And this time, can we have the boys do a Ferris wheel while the girls recycle? Very good, and the boys now pass through and do a star through. You'd probably want to circulate the couples for one time right here. But for our purposes, let's just bend the line and get back to our lines of 4 again. Very good. For this time now, shall we have the lines roll a half sachet? And here again we set up a possibility where we can work with the centers because we have normal partner positioning here. Let's have the center 4 do a right and left through. And the other 4 touch a quarter. And there we dealt our cues, our directions with others and centers. Let's have those same centers run a Dixie style to an ocean wave. And this gives us a nice little possibility for working with columns of 6 for a change, for perhaps a little excitement. Can we have before we do this, let me ask you, why would I want to have the column of 6 circulate once? Can anybody say? Yes, because when we do that circulate, we set up again the boys and the girls where we can direct them. Column of 6 circulate one time, would you please? Good. Now we have the girls ready for the direction and the boys ready. If you have good APD dancers or good DVD dancers, you can do many things with the ladies from this position. For our purposes here, let's have the ladies trade the wave. We'll have the men trade and roll. We'll have the ladies do a linear cycle. And we have nicely managed lines again. You can do, of course, lots of things here. You could do a pass-through, have the men fold and star through, and you're back to your two-face lines. Easy to handle. For this time, let us have the ladies do a square through, and the men do a load the boat. Excellent. One star through, please. Bend the line. Pass the ocean. 8 circulate. Recycle. Sweep 1/4. And bow to your partner. And thank you for your illustration. I'm going to give it back to Darrell because I don't know how much time we have to go. Thank you very much.
Nice job. Hey, does anybody have some questions? That was some good stuff that he was putting together out there. I sat up and said, what? How'd he do that? That looks good. We'll use that. Don't forget now, if you got a question, anytime or a comment. Yes, sir.
I do have one question on your setup when you're using substitute. I'm not questioning whether you use substitute or not. I'm questioning how did you use your substitute correctly with one person facing out the other end? I thought that was a fact.
Okay. For the taper, I have to repeat the question. The question was with the substitute where you had one person facing in and another person facing out. How can you call that a substitute? Bob, would you like to answer that, please?
Well, no.
Okay, Bob would not care to answer that.
Are there any further questions? No, very frankly, I took a little bit of liberty with that movement. But it's the kind of liberty that I do take now and then, just for perhaps for some little bit of different choreography, something that isn't done every day, and it works. I haven't had a failure yet with that, particularly because it's a very easy cue to handle. Centers, arch, and substitute, or even centers, arch, and substitute back over 2. And you don't have a failure with that. Try that. Try it. You'll like it.
I think that's the key, is if you had like those centers arch and tell them to substitute over that outside too. I think everybody will get that fine. I've seen that before. Any other questions? That's a very good question. Okay, real good. Here comes Tony Oxendine from Sumter, South Carolina.
Swag, I can get mine over with. I don't want any questions afterwards. I'm going to try to... I used to make a statement. I used to tell guys that I would say, because I thought singing calls were just real important in a dance, and I figured patter, if you could just any kind of record, you just get through your patter, that's okay, and do a zinger singing call, everything's great. But over the years, I've gotten to figure out that choice of patter music is important too, because I used to say I've never had a dancer ask for a particular patter record, but which was true up until a couple of years ago when I started really looking at patter records and trying to use different types. And I have had dancers come up and not necessarily ask what that particular patter record was, but they would make a statement about it. They really liked part of it, or or they wanted the number of it for some reason. And so I really think that we've kind of overlooked the correlation between the choice of our music and the choice of our patter material. And I've got some examples here. And you can think of a ton more. But I kind of divide patter records into 2 types, and this is just strictly my way of thinking. You may have a different word about it entirely, but I call them busy records and non-busy records. And busy, I usually mean to have like a strong melodic content. And it's normally an easy recognizable tune. Let me give you some hints or some examples. This is Mountain Dew on Chaparral. Now, if you listen to it a second, you can just find a tune that repeats over and over and over again. And it's let's start at the beginning here. I bet you these people in the box up there with the tapes are going to go crazy. But, if you listen, there's a fiddle playing the lead, and it's playing the song Mountain Dew. I'll hush up my mug and all of that stuff. And give you another example. I'm going to use another Chaparral record. Gary, I am not picking on Chaparral records. I use both of these hoedowns 3-4 times a night. This one's called Stay a Little Longer, and it too is on Chaparral. And if you listen, you'll hear the tune. And there's some lead instruments playing the tune Stay a Little Longer. If you listen to it. And there's a lot going on in this record if you just sit back and listen to it. There's a fiddle, there's a little banjo, there's a guy hitting a top hat on a drum, and both of these are patter records, strictly patter records. In fact, Mountain Dew came out first as a hoedown. As a singing call, and then it came out as a patter record. This particular Mountain Dew is maybe not the one you use, because this is the hoedown. This is the singing call Mountain Dew, and they came out later on with a patter record Mountain Dew, which took out a little bit of the lead instruments. When I get back, here's one. Now, this is a singing call. So I didn't even come out as a patter record. I used it as a patter record because I figure anything that's got a beat, you can call patter to it. If it's done in 4/4 time or 2/4 time, and it's got a downbeat and an upbeat, you can call patter to it regardless of what else is going on. This is on Brahma, and it's, these guys ought to give me maybe a royalty for plugging these records on these tapes. I never thought of that.
Sure wish you'd use a Ranch House record.
I guess I could. This is a singing call. I purposely did not. You realize that? This is a singing call. Came out a few years ago. It's called I Saw the Light, and it's on Brahma. Now, this came out strictly as a singing call. I heard another guy use it as a patter record, and I said, that is such a neat deal. Now, this one, too, is real busy if you sit back and just listen to all the music that's going on. If it'll play. Let me bass it up a little bit for you. Now, there's a big, strong guitar lead in it. And you can hear the tune. But you're automatic. Now, a perfect example of why I like this record is I played it and everybody in here was patting their foot. That's why I use it, because the dancers hear it, and they do the same thing. They pat their foot. And these are all, the unique thing about all these records is that every one of them is a singing call. Or maybe not necessarily a square dance singing call, but they are a song of some type, a recognizable song. Now, some non-busy records. I started going through my case, and I said, I don't have that many non-busy records. So I had to go through Daryl's case, find a couple. Here's one. This is an old one on Scope Records, and it's called Handy. Now listen, when you heard the other one, you heard all of these instruments, fiddles, banjos, guitars, several different types of drums. You had a bass beat, you had a top hat, you had cymbals, you had a harmonica in a couple of them. But now listen to the difference between that and this one. This one's called Handy. That's not the one I want. You got yours is flipped from mine. Your label is backwards. Mine was wrong. My Handy is the... Okay, now here's the... Listen to the difference between the others and this one. Now, you can take this needle and put it anywhere in the record. And a big ending. Here's the ending. Big ending. Play ending. Anyway, it just quits. Trust me, it just quits. Now, there's not a whole lot of stuff going on there. It's just a it's not. I'm not saying it's a bad record. It's a very good record. I'm sure anybody that's been calling more than 4 or 5 years has at one time used this record, or may, if you're like Daryl and don't have any new records in your case, you probably still use this. I'm surprised Daryl's still not using 78 RPM records. Let's pick on another label. Let's pick on rhythm for a while. And here's one Rhythm came out with that at home several years ago. I started a little callers clinic. We'd get together on Sunday, and we'd work together and everything. And I noticed that every time any of the guys got up and called, there was about 8 or 10 of them. Every one of them would use this record, and it's a very good record. Now listen, this one's hot and sassy on Rhythm. Okay. Now, let me talk a little bit just about a couple of, since I call while this is playing, and then we're going to listen to it as we go along. I'm not saying that a non-busy record does not have a melody line. Here's a melody of some type. There's lead instruments playing, but it's normally not a tune that you could recognize and sing. You would be hard pressed to sing this tune. sing that. Maybe you know the tune. I do not know the tune. But it's kind of it's what I call non-busy. There's music in there. It's not just a boom chugga. Although naturally all good square dance records have got to have your boom chugga type rhythm. And let's see now. I hope I got the label. Let me see. Listen a second. Okay. Now here's one. We'll listen to it. This one's Roadhog or Uncle Pen rather on Pioneer. It's an old one. Now here again, there's a melody in there, or there's lead instruments, but it's not a very strong melodic content. You don't know the tune. Okay? Which I'm sure there's in fact probably some song named this, but they've kind of taken out a lot of the lead instruments, and you don't have as much of that cluttering around. So you say, well, what good are those? You know, these non-busy and busy. And I use the two different types of records for two different things. I like to, at my dances, and a lot of people that I see, but the whole deal with a dance is to create some type of enthusiasm with the dancers. Now, it doesn't have to be jump up and do backflips and, you know, yell and scream your head off, but you want to make them happy. And for lack of a better word, I'm going to use enthusiasm. And I feel like there are two basic ways to create such an enthusiasm. You can use really neat choreographic material to where when you call this stuff in, when you say Alaman left, the folks say, wow, I'm so glad I got through that. It is great. Wasn't that good? You know, and the use of music. For instance, your dive through square through 3, kick your music up right before you hit corner. That's why they always make these little volume controls on the side of the microphone. Now, that's what it's used for, to where the music itself will create an enthusiasm. You may not have called very good stuff, that particular tip. And you say, okay, I got to use some good music. So if I'm going to work my dance, and I try to, prior to calling a dance, I try to know basically what I'm going to do each tip. I have some type of rough idea. If I have a tip that I'm going to use a lot of material or a lot of choreographic content, like maybe a workshop tip, or if I've got some really, really good, strong dancers and they like a lot of material, I use a lot of non-busy records because I don't want to clutter up the dancer's mind with all this music. They're going to be running along singing Mountain Dew, and I'm going to be saying In Your Box of Four while the others roll in, and you do, and then you say, and they're listening to the music. Kind of gets cluttered. And if I've got a group that maybe I'm just playing with, I've just done a real hard tip, for instance, and I want to kind of let them relax a little bit and lay back, I'm going to put on a real tune that maybe they can understand when I put the record on, you know, to square them up, and they hear, well, I call it that good old Mountain Dew, and, you know, they just kind of get the feeling about it a little bit. And you don't have to do a whole lot to make the folks happy in a case like that. You can just let the music work for you. And I'm going to talk a second about some what I would use in a non-busy. We're going to get a little bit on choreography. I don't want to get really deep on choreography because I figure y'all have been choreographed to death at one time or another. And we may get a little... I've always just figured if I get up and try to show you something, it looks like you look strange. I'm just going to talk about a couple of things rather than get the dancers up, unless y'all just particularly want to get up. I didn't figure you did. I do not want you to get up. It works out good. Let's say you're doing a dance, and I like to start my dances off relatively... Do me one of those two, would you? I like to start my dances off relatively easy, and to get an idea of what the dancers can do, rather than me try to show them exactly what I can do. I don't figure they're, you know. So I'm going to start off with perhaps one of these records that with the what I call the busy records, with a big old tune that everybody can recognize. Kind of get them on my side first. At some point during the program of my dance, though, I'm going to figure out, okay, I need to do a little bit of material here, and the whole thing about calling a dance and maybe working on it yourself a lot is to figure out exactly how much of this material should you give out and how much relaxation should you give out. And you try to find a good, and it's different with each caller, but you find a good balance for you as to where you can call the best dance. If I'm going to use a non-busy record, for instance, this handy that we played with, just the and just the hand clapping, okay, that'll enable me to do what I call directional calling, which I'm sure most of you, Bob gave a very good example of directional calling. When you start looking at different formations and having one person do one thing, or the insides do one thing, the outsides do another, and you start splitting it all up. And I've got some examples, maybe if you can follow in your head. I like to do things, I really feel like a caller, if he's going to call maybe plus, I really feel like it helps a caller if he's able to dance the level above what he calls proficiently, because it gives you such a neat insight onto material. There's a lot of calls on the A1 list, for instance, that you can use directionally at your plus group. You don't ever have to give them a name. You can just call it and the folks say, "That is so good. You called that thing. I'd never seen that before." And a good example, I use scoot and dodge, which is an A1 movement, which is nothing but a combination of a scoot back and a walk and dodge, about half of each. Yes, I got 3 or 4 of them. Okay, he wants to get a square up, so would y'all mind getting a square up?
Would 4 couples help us, please, one more time?
And I'll show you. Okay.
Same old square.
Sure does. Your partner does not care who she dances with, Bob. Okay, let's have the heads couples slide in there and face your corner. Smile at her. Slide through twice for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Touch a quarter. I know this is not an A1 meeting, but scoot and dodge is a combination of 2 mainstream movements. Girls, you're facing out. You're going to do your part of dodge. Girls, do your part of dodge. Boys, scoot back. Bam. And you got lines of 4 facing out. You can immediately follow that with a beautiful flowing plus figure if you like. Everybody partner trade. You can also take movements. Touch a quarter for me. Do an all 8 circulate once and a half. Now here's your column of 6 he talked about earlier. Okay, center 6 for me, trade, and just the boys spread apart. Now boys, if you look out there, you got and you can talk your dancers through this. Tell the boys, say, boys, you got a great big diamond out there. And tell the boys to see their great big diamond. Okay, boys in your big diamond circulate once and about a half, and the girls trade, and everybody's got a 2-face line. You're back to normal, recognizable setup. That's so easy. Bend the line for me. Do a right and a left through. That, which I think that setup I had then was something off the C3 or 9 list or something. I don't know. It was one of those, but I have no idea what it was. I heard somebody use it. I said, that's really good. I think I'll use it. Touch a quarter for me. Here's something off the plus list that maybe we could expound upon sometimes. Don't do it, but coordinate is a good call. You know, I really like coordinate. It's a useful call in the fact that in one call it takes me from a column to a 2-face line, which I like. I like a call that takes me from one formation to another. I don't like calls that take me from a wave to a wave. I'd like to work from something else. Let's everybody coordinate one time, and the girls go an extra quarter. And you have diamonds, and you really haven't called anything. You know, you've had the girls do their little thing, and the dancers say, well, I've never danced that before. And so you really score some points. Everybody diamond circulate. Flip the diamond for me. Recycle. Now square through, but on your third hand, touch a quarter. Third hand material is really neat. It always, if you start from a normal square through with a right hand starting, your third hand's always going to be on the right hand. Therefore, if you do something from your third hand, you can always do any right-handed movement. Let's everybody, girls do your part of walk and dodge, and boys do your part of scoot back. And everybody chase to the right, girl loop and boy fold. And the boy fold behind the girl, and the girls pass through, touch a quarter with a boy. Boy trade and run, then bend your line. And a right and a left through. Now here we got lines of 4 facing in. Everybody square through, but on your third hand, do a right and a left through, and turn her a quarter more, and the ladies hinge, and we're back in diamonds. Flip the diamond, boys are in the middle this time, makes it easy. Boy trade, boy run around the girl. Bend the line. Now, this is going to go right into my next point, what I wanted to talk about. What I call, or I guess everybody calls, theme tips. A lot of times callers come up and say, You know, I don't know. I keep calling the same thing over and over again. Or maybe dancers say to you, hey, you keep calling the same thing over and over again. And I found a way to eliminate that is to set up theme tips. Take a tip and pick a particular movement or series of movements and expound upon it. For instance, the call, one of the most beautiful calls we've had on the list in quite a while, in my own opinion, is spin, chain, and exchange the gears. I think that's just a beautiful call. Please tell me all of you can do it. Pass the ocean for me. Here's a little variation on spin, chain, exchange the gears that you really don't have to teach. You may have to just give it a little walkthrough, but normally I found that most folks can do it. Do a spin, chain, and exchange the gears. Notice my directions now. But when you make your stars, turn your stars a full turn. That means the boy that just traded will be a lead boy. Now you'll come into the center, step straight ahead, and everybody else kind of plays follow the leader. Loop out, boy, there you go. Boys flip into the center, catch your left hands. Everybody has an ocean wave. And that's something they haven't done normally. But you turn that star full, turn it, and it threw you from a normal ocean wave to here we've got a wave with the boys in the middle, so we can do things that we always call from boys in the middle, such as boys trade. Boy run around the girl. Bend the line. Now, another call that I have a ball with, and I think most callers don't take enough time with it, is the call roll, which is on our plus list. Everybody knows roll is an extension, you know, the whole deal. And everybody can do pass through, partner trade, and roll. Now everybody can do that, no problem. Okay, everybody's single circle halfway and make a wave. Girls trade, explode, and slide through. But what about some calls that you don't normally hear with roll, okay? For instance, touch a quarter. And here's a call that I'm going to look at in about 4 minutes, too, because I've got it for another example. Scoot back, but just the girls roll. Go ahead. Boys go in, turn half. Girls fold, and then roll. You'll be looking at his ear. The boys are looking out. Boys run to the right, once and a half, squeeze in between the two girls, catch left hands. You would think that sometimes dancers have problems with that, but if you directionally guide them, that's the key. If you directionally guide them, they don't have any problem with it. Couples circulate for me. Show you another example. Bend the line. Right and left through. Everybody pass through, partner trade, but just the girls roll again, and you're looking at his ear, and everybody take about a half step forward. Bim, you're in diamonds. Okay, diamonds circulate and boys roll. And all the girls swing through. All the girls extend to a guy. Now here's another neat call. Everybody do a single hinge and the boys trade. That ought to have a name. Boy run and roll. Look at her ear. Now here you say, I got a weird looking setup, but you really don't. You know, you got the boys looking in, girls are in a little mini wave. Why don't the girls trade and roll? Good. Girls pass through. Touch a quarter with a boy, you're right back in a normal ocean wave again. And you really haven't done anything. Boys trade for me just to get some body flow. Boy run around a girl. I want to show you a little thing with diamonds, too, while we're at it. Girls hinge for me. Now, the neat thing about diamonds is that you can use diamonds at a mainstream level as long as you don't tell them it's diamonds. They don't know what a diamond is, but all you have here is a box of 4 of boys. This is the 4 boys on the outside. Girls, you have an ocean wave. Therefore, using directional calling with non-busy music, we can have the girls do one thing and the boys do another. Right? Girls swing through, boys face in. Girls extend, make a wave with that old feller, and single hinge and the boys trade again. We're right back normal. Now, what you have to worry about when you use a lot of directional calling, not only do you start having to worry about body flow, but you start having to worry about timing. Let me show you something. Boy run, couple circulate. I'm going to let y'all go in just a second, I promise. Bend the line. Pass the ocean. Okay, now we're going to do, we've been calling along now. We've been doing all this directional stuff. But let me show you just in the way you say things, how it can affect you timing-wise. And watch the boys in this case. The boys will be the easy one. Swing through. Boys trade and girls circulate. Okay? Boys finished a little bit before the girls got there, right? Okay, swing through again. Let me get the girls in the middle. We'll have the same setup. Same call. Watch the difference in the timing factor now. Swing through, girls circulate, boys trade, and it should time out almost perfect. Just in the way you say something. So you've got to sit back with your dolls or with your own little personal square and look at this stuff and say, okay, what can I do from here? Let me see if I need y'all any time else. Hold on a minute. No, you can go ahead and rest. Thank you very much. Weren't they good? Now, I would use all of this with what I call my non-busy music, because I'm talking to the dancers. I'm telling them, boys do this, girls do that, in your wave, in your diamond, in your box. Okay? And I try to use non-busy music with the volume perhaps down a little bit lower than normal, letting them hear it, but not cluttering up their minds with a lot of music. If I were to use, by the same token, if I wanted to use a busy record, one of these records with all the nice melodic content, I would start using less directional material, and I would call perhaps maybe a relay the deucey, and at the time I called relay the deucey, rather than spending their time saying half right, boy left 3/4, girls half circulate, grand swing through, and move up, cast right 3/4. Instead of doing all that talking, record producers put a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort in records into the getting this music to make it. Right now we've got the best square dance music we've ever had in our whole activity. It's a shame to cover it up with a lot of boys do this, girls sometimes. So let's get our square up and dance with music. Okay. You're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
They want the square up again to dance so we can film.
This is primarily for the TV coverage.
This will be on TV. Okay, now my question. Now we get 47 squares out there. Okay, now my question before we do this: would you like busy music or non-busy music? I'll tell you what. Since we're dancing, rather than doing cueing, I was talking about busy music with all the strong melody and stuff. Let me show you how we can perhaps create an enthusiasm by allowing you to do a call, raising the level of the music while you do it, rather than use a lot of directions, okay? We'll try to make you look good. Which record would y'all like to do? If this is going to be TV coverage, I should have done a Ranch House record. I'll use this. It's right here. Okay. Okay, I'll use you're going to have to dance for about 3 minutes, okay? I want the remote. Okay, here we go. Wow. Should be good. Will you bow to the partner, corner two? Walk around the corner, turn partner left. Head ladies center, teacup chain with no cues. You may even want to sing part of the record. Didn't realize callers dance that good. Heads to the middle and you come along back. Square through in the middle of the ring. You go 4 hands around, you do. When you meet, touch 1/4. Just follow your neighbor and spread. Spin chain and exchange the gears. Recycle, please. Slide through and around a left through. Touch a 1/4. Coordinate, look good now. Do a Ferris wheel and deal. In the middle, make a wave. Ping pong, circulate. Extend your tag. Girl trade. Everybody explode the wave. Chase to the right. Boy run around a girl. Reverse flutter wheel, boy left. Dixie style, do a wave. Trade the wave. Relay the deucey. And here we're letting the music work now, notice. Swing through, give a 2x2. Girl circ, boy trade. Boy, you run around a girl and now. Ferris wheel and now. In the middle, do a right or left through. Take a full turn, face the outsides. Everybody slide through. Pass the ocean. Relay the deucey. Swing through in time. Boy, run around a girl. 3/4 tag the line. All the men swing through. Girl, turn around. Boy, extend. Boy, fold. Everybody do a double pass through. The girls, you turn back. Start through now. All the couples circulate once. Ladies hinge. Diamond circulate. Flip your diamond. Recycle. And a right or left through. start through. Well, then you pass through, you wheel and deal. In the middle, do a right or left through. Take a full turn, face the outside pair. Everybody touch 1/4. Split circulate 1 1/2. You'll have diamonds. Diamonds circulate. Everybody diamond circulate. Boys roll, the girls swing through. All the girls extend. Everybody single hinge. The gentlemen trade and the girls fold. Peel your top. Slide through and single circle, make an ocean wave. The boys trade. Boy run to the right. All the couples circulate. Chain down the line. Dixie style. Boy cross run. Girls slide together and trade. Explode and go right or left through. Pass through and you wheel and deal. Square through 3. Slide through when you meet. Sit through the middle and down. And a right or left through. Touch 1/4. Triple scoot. Boys, you run to the right. Slide through. And a right or left through. Touch 1/4. All 8 circulate. Boy, you run around a girl and a left alley. Man to the left hand. Promenade, go around the bend and then you get her back home and down. Back home and then. Y'all need some more? Do you need some more? Sides leap to the right and you circle up 4. Break out, make a line. Don't worry, this is going to make you a star, guys. And a right or left through. Flutter wheel. Sweep 1/4. Veer to the left. Couple circulate. Crossfire. Coordinate. Couple circulate. Chain down the line. Dixie style. Boy cross run. Girl slide and trade. Linear cycle. Reverse flutter. Back away. You're done. Very nice. That was good. Not bad. Okay. I've got. Did you notice that on that? I'm not trying to say what I do is right and everything, but did you notice that on the execution of the figures, for instance, like the relay, the deuces, and the coordinates, the music volume got raised a little bit? And if you noticed, even with callers who are kind of hard to please, they kind of got a little bit excited on the Alloman left. And that's what we're shooting for. There's also one of the problems with directional calling is that we tend to lose a little bit of our choreography. Hi, how are you? And we have a problem in our choreography. You can actually have too much body flow. You can just run the girls in a circle sometimes, or the boys in a circle, and you can have too much of a good thing. You can also have none of a good thing by not having any body flow or absolutely backwards body flow. And I'm not going to go into getting you up again, but everybody at one time or another has called walk and dodge and partner trade. That's really bad on the girls. Some of you perhaps have called walk and dodge and bend the line, and that's terrible on everybody. Don't know why. And so you have to watch out for that when you start using your directional calling. And also you got to watch out for too much body flow. For instance, on a relay the deucey, the final call, if we do it normally, the final movement, the girls are casting 3/4. Well, if you called a relay the deucey and finish that up with a fan the top, those girls are not going to like it. And so you want to be careful with that. The problem we get, information awareness. You ought to have some idea going in that if you call something, what's going to happen and where you end up and what you can call afterwards. You ought to have some type of basic working knowledge out of it. And let's see, what else I got on this thing here? Well, the other problem, and then I'm done. The other problem that you run into is that once you use directional calling, if you use too much of it, and when you start doing too much, boy do this, girl do that, boy do this, you lose your timing. They do a lot of stop and go, which is a complaint I hear from a lot of dancers about callers sometimes. And so it's a good thing to use in moderation. Know exactly how much you can do. Some callers can call an entire dance directionally, and it's like dancing on glass. And some callers have to say, okay, in your box of 4, that is a box of 4, do something, the others do this. And you can lose your dancing no matter how good your choreography is. If they have to take a step, stop and look, and take another step, stop and look, you've lost your case. Thank you very much.
Good job, Tony.
record. I don't want you to think I'm trying to steal.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody right quick? Let me tell you, by the way, breakfast is from 7:30 to 8:45, so we're going to get out of here in about 10 more minutes, and so we can all make breakfast together. All right? I think all of us gentlemen should give these 4 ladies a nice hand that came in this morning. And I'm going to impose on them one more time, just real briefly, very briefly, okay? The stuff I have to talk to you about is very basic. I'm sure that most of you understand exactly what I'm talking about since you've been calling several years, or you wouldn't be eligible to come to CALLERLAB, but we're going to show it to you anyway. You may have an opportunity to show it to some of the beginning callers in your area, and it might help you putting a couple things together. So if I get the square up just a minute, please. What I'm going to talk about is using the... You got back just in time. I want to talk about two basic things, and the first one is going to be the singing calls and adapting some of the plus figures to a singing call. And I'm not particularly going to take up any move and say, now this is a great figure for singing call, whatever. The basic thing that I am interested in is the location of your dancers at the end of whatever so-called choreography you want to do, so that you swing your corner or something like that in promenade. How about do this for me? How about first of all, everybody notice where everybody's standing, where they're starting, their home position, okay? How about the head step in the middle and face your corner, please, and step to a right-handed wave. Okay, now we could have done something like heads promenade half, down the middle, right and left through, flutter wheel, sweep a quarter, and pass through, and make a wave, and we're in this position. The reason I said all that is for a time filler, okay? So we did that, and we're to this point in a singing call, and we want to use, let's just say, relay the doocy, okay? So everybody relay the doocy, please. That's where you let the music play, right? Okay, now if you want to look right quick here, of course everybody's got their corner by the right hand, but they're halfway away from where they were when they started, okay? So let's just assume that just as they finished this relay the doocy, we had told them to swing their corner and promenade. So just gently reach over and swing your corner, please, and promenade. Now they should have technically about an 8-step promenade from where I left them. If we did all that just right, and they took that 8-beat promenade, we got 8 beats of music left. And they're just going to have to stand there, or they swing, or kick, or whatever. So it would work much better if we put them on the other side of the square when we started our relay the doocy. Just as an example, heads please promenade half. Sides do a right and left through. Okay, now that's part of my time filler that I used a while ago when I said heads promenade half, right and left through, flutter wheel, and sweep a quarter. Okay, but right now everybody is halfway away from their home position. So, sides square through 4. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I really should. Step to an ocean wave, right-handed wave. Okay, now here again, we're with our corner, but we're halfway away from our home position. Everybody relay the doocy, please. Da, 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 da. I should do a ranch house record.
Yeah, do picker pattern.
Picker pattern. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, swing your corner. She's on your right, gentlemen. That's good. But everybody's at home. Promenade. Now, you should have 16 beats now. All right. That works very well in with our singing call. We should have a 16-beat promenade. Everybody follow what I'm saying? Okay, it works exactly the same with a spin chain the gears, except spin chain the gears seems to take just a little bit longer when we put it in a singing call. We can work some other figures in a similar manner. We got to get the people on the other side of the square to do some things, like heads promenade halfway around, sides do a right and left through, sides square through 4. Okay, same thing we did a while ago. We're away, halfway away from home. Do a right and left through for me. Star through. We have lines of 4 looking in. Everybody load the boat. You can sing a little bit right here. Da 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 da. Swing your corner and promenade. See, they're home now. Gentlemen, our promenade should take, go ahead please, take 16 beats all the way around. If they take little bitty steps. Little bitty steps, okay? The point I want to make is they're halfway away from home. All right, now, perhaps you get into this and you start one of those figures and you haven't quite used up all your time in the first part of the figure. For example, sides square through 4 for me. Okay, step to a right-handed wave, relay the doocy one more time. Now notice I started them at their home position, so when they finish this relay the doocy, they're going to be halfway away from their home position. And I don't want them to swing their corner and promenade from here, because if they did that, they're going to only have 8 beats to promenade. So, all 8 circulate. Twice. Swing your corner. And don't promenade all the way, but just sort of get right there. All right? Now, we can, that would have given us a 16-beat promenade, which will work in just right with our singing calls. All right, now a figure that I like to use, that I've been using a lot lately, that I get a big kick out of, it's a little difficult if your dancers are what we call like weak plus dancers, but would be some figures from lines such as heads promenade halfway around, heads lead to the right, veer to the left, bend your line. Okay, now just for everybody that's watching now, we have a 1P, 2P line. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure 0 line, 1P, 2P line, but it's just in slightly a different position than it would be if I had said heads or sides, whichever I started with, lead right and circle to a line. Actually, the gentlemen are probably one spot to the left or something like that, but they're just in exactly the right place for a singing call situation, such as touch a quarter, coordinate, bend your line, pass through, chase right. She's on your right, swing your corner. That gets them just in exactly the right spot. Just as Gray said with that lady, please. Okay, that put them in exactly the right spot to promenade 16 beats for a singing call. Everybody still with me? One more time. Head promenade half. And we'll put a little bit more plus choreography. Now, lead to the right, veer to the left. We have a two-face line, crossfire. Puts us in an automatic nice column, and it's a standard column we're familiar with, as if I had said heads lead right, circle 4, and touch a quarter. They're in the same type column. Coordinate. Girls cross run to the right. Boys just slide together. Boys cross run to the right. Girls just slide together. Bend your line. Slide through. Swing your corner. Just in exactly the right spot to promenade 16 beats, but don't. Scray, you sit with her. Okay? The point I want to make is you get in that line like a 1P, 2P line, and it just works real nice. Okay, 4 ladies chain, please. Get you back home. Any questions? Problems? Okay, one other thing I want to mention, and I want to use one of our quarterly selections. I've seen some people, some callers at festivals and things, just jump right into the middle of the floor and start teaching load the top, which is all plus figures or basic figures, and they just seem to have lots of problem. And I would like to suggest to you, not just on this one, I'm using this one figure for an example, but I'm not really just talking about this one figure. I'm using this idea that you can use on anything that you have to teach. Head step in the middle, face your corner, step to a right-handed wave. Okay, now if I were going to teach load the top to a group, just as an example, before I do that, I'm going to put some music on and just dance them around. Now, I bet most of you know from right here, if we call swing through and spin the top, we would have no problems at all. But you go to a floor that maybe, like I said, a soft plus, you just get them in this position right here and you call spin the top, you're going to lose half the room, probably. In a lot of cases, that's true. So what I do is dance them around, get them in a wave like this, and I'll just say, be sure and start with your right hand. Everybody spin the top. Turn through. Be sure and come back out. Then a courtesy turn. We could have called that a turn and left through. Okay? But I'll have them pass the ocean again. Spin the top. Okay? Box the net. Look her in a good eye and do a right and left through. Very good. Okay, we did a couple spin the tops. I'll get them in lines. Everybody load the boat for me. You got to watch the timing real close. But the center's stopping a wave. Okay, now that's a familiar thing in it, on that load the top thing, but I'm not calling load the top. All I call was load the boat. I told the centers to stop in a wave. Centers, please recycle and zoom. The others can pass through and slide through with the outside group. We have lines again. Let's see, you were in the center last time. Do a right and left through, everybody. Load the boat. Be sure and watch the timing. Center stop in a wave right before you go through. Okay, good. Ping pong circulate. Those in the wave extend. Now, girls, be sure and start with the left hand. Everybody fan the top. Single hinge, we have a column. Circulate. Original men run right. Good. Okay, now all I've done is just dance around. Spin the top. We've done spin the top with the gentleman on the end. I did a fan the top. I did a load the boat, had the centers stop in the middle before they go all the way through. That makes it 100% easier on your dancers when you start to teach load the top, okay? So now everybody star through, please. Now I know that you all know how to do it, but even if you didn't know how to do it, some cues you could give if you're going to teach load the top, just get them in a line. Just the end people load the boat. Just the ends. When you get down to the other end, catch that person by the right forearm, turn by the right a full turn till the girl's left shoulder's in toward the center. Center 4 people, load the boat. but stop in a right-handed wave. In that wave, spin your top. All the girls should be able to catch left hands. In your group of 4, everybody fan the top. And it's just that easy to get a floor through, load the top. Okay? Swing through for me. Girls circulate. Boys trade. Boys run right. Bend your line. Star through, just for the fun of it. Do a right and left through. Veer over to the left. Do a Ferris wheel. Center sweep a quarter, back away. The others lead to the left. And bow to your corner. Thank you very much for y'all getting up and dance with us. We really do appreciate that. What's this 4 and 3? Is that the channels? Will that be? That's here. Okay. Everybody, if you'd care to. Oh no, it's a national. Wow. Wednesday, April the 3rd. NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. That'll be on it. How about that? Okay. Anybody have any questions?